17 lessons for making my first $100,000 in online money. And so this happened a few months ago, but I was just reflecting the other day and I was thinking to myself, what are some of the key lessons I've learned over the course of this entire process? And hopefully by extension, you guys can take at least just one thing of value and apply it into your own life, into your own agency. I'm guilty of this as well, listening to hours of podcasts and YouTube and Hermosi highlights, but not actually doing anything with the information. And so I want you guys not to just be entertained, but I want you guys to take something of value. This entire channel, the entire purpose is to give value. And so let's get into it. 1 of 17 after making my first 100K of money online. Now, especially the entire way through, it's 80% mindset. Lesson 1 is 80% mindset. At the Dubai Masterminds a few weeks ago with a bunch of other guys who are at different stages, whether 10K, 50K, 100K a month plus, everybody struggles with mindset. And the entire way through, or at least, the entire way through, it's 70 to 80% mindset. And that's why it's so important for us to kind of figure out why we're doing what we're doing. At each stage, the why is going to change. And so we need to have at the forefront of our minds why we're doing what we're doing. And so pain will push people far further than pleasure. But we have push and pull drivers and motivators. We need to figure out, or you need to figure out what your why is, do everything in your power to stay committed to that why, and then by any means necessary, get to your goal. And so if you grew up wanting to help and give back to your family and having lived in poverty, and having some pretty traumatic past experiences from your childhood, that's a pretty strong why to kind of push you. And I don't know what your why is. You guys have to figure that out. But 80% of the way, or the entire way, 80% is mindset. Skills are trainable. Some of the mindset stuff is trainable. But you need to actually have a crystal clear why on what you're doing. Lesson 2, product is king. Churn is not fun. Nobody wants to lose clients. Nobody wants to talk to pissed off clients. It would be amazing if you had the best products on the market and your weekly check-in calls were basically just testimonials and reviews for your company. That's the extreme, but we need to get as close to the extreme as possible. And so product is king. The market will speak for itself if your product is amazing. Referrals will then take off, and that's why it's so important that pretty much the back end of your day when you're winding down is just you improving your product and fixing it one day at a time. Because imagine a world where you had 0% churn. Think about how much more money you would make. It's incredible. And so lesson 3, tracking is key to finding bottlenecks. In the beginning, I didn't have systems. In the beginning, I didn't have operations and things put in place to kind of give me a crystal clear idea as to what my bottlenecks were. And so I was just shooting blind in the dark, not really knowing or not really having a light in front of me in the dark. That's essentially what it came down to. Once I started putting tracking and data in place, I was able to kind of discover what my bottlenecks are. For example, on the front end, we have leads, booking, shows, closes. And so if your show up rate is shit, it's like, okay, why is this the case? If my closing percentage is shit, okay, why is this the case? If you don't know anything about anything, you're lost. And that's the truth. Every single person who's much further ahead than me, they have all of their KPIs and numbers down to the T. They know everything about every single part of their company. And that's why it's easy to spot bottlenecks, diagnose that bottleneck with the solution, and then act quickly. Number 4, never stop selling. I'm guilty of this. I paused my ads for a few weeks because I wanted to put systems in place. In hindsight, I should have never have done that. I could have worked an extra two hours towards the end of the day or whatever it so be. I could have lost sleep for a couple extra hours for a prolonged period of a few weeks, but never stop selling, ever. No matter where you are, even if you're making $500K a month, you can still onboard an extra 3-4 clients. If you're sub 10K a month, guys, you have absolutely no reason at all to stop any sort of acquisition. Legit 5 to 7 hours of your day should just be spent on asking the question, how can I acquire clients? Once you figure that out by whatever outreach method you do, then do 5 to 7 hours of violent work for that one method. That's it. So never pause ads. You always have time in the day to prioritize putting whatever thing in place you needed, which was the reason why you stopped your ads in the first place. Number 5, invest into mentorships ASAP. You're telling me somebody has a crystal clear path in front of you, a blueprint to get to where you want to go for $5,000, for $10,000, and you're going to say no? I just can't believe some people's mindsets. And to be honest, like I try not to I empathize with certain people because all of us who are on this journey once experienced that, once was that. I was that way. I thought it was all bullshit. I thought it was all a scam when I first started. And so after being in the game now for a year, I just can't believe how some people think. So you're telling me there are people who have shortcuts to what you want to do, and you're not going to invest in. Like, it's just the most broken mindset ever. And so my advice for the 5th lesson is invest into these groups ASAP. You're going to meet like-minded people. The mentors are going to hold you accountable, and it's all going to work out. 6, abundance mindset is key. Abundance and lack. When you have lack, you're basically desiring something. You don't have enough of it. And so you come from a scarcity mindset. Now, the abundance mindset has affected my life in so many incredible ways, whether that be firing existing clients because they are a pain in the ass, or clients wanting to churn, not even doing the exit call because it's not even worth the mental mind space to talk to them, instead of just saying, hey, get gone, I don't care about you or what you have going on, your mindset is broken, it's not even worth my time. And so the abundance mindset is absolutely massive because there are hundreds of thousands of contractors to serve. There are hundreds of thousands of people to hire and build a really cool team with. The abundance mindset is the thinking mode of wealthy people. They do not think in terms of scarcity and frugality and, oh, I'm going to lose my money. It's all bullshit. You have to think in terms of abundance and truly act as if you have more. And that feeling, that's a way higher vibrational frequency than a desire, than a lack of. And so when you're acting in that frequency of abundance and of love and of just wanting to give, it's going to propel you so much quicker than you can imagine. Number 7, volume negates luck. As Hormozi says, do so much volume, it's impossible to fail. And it's true. It's true. And I'll speak for a minute about how people don't do this. So for example, it's like when contractors on sales calls say, meta ads don't work. What kind of limiting belief is that? Like, how can you be so in your way and tell yourself this delusional story that meta ads don't work because you've done it twice, because you've done it 3 times with somebody who just started their agency? Maybe it's you watching this. Maybe you're the reason, maybe you're the reason that these contractors are talking shit on these sales calls. I lost clients. And so do so much volume, it's impossible to fail. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's the 7th lesson. Number 8, as Naval Ravikant said, if he were to summarize the human experience into 2 words, it's this. Lesson 8, which is productize yourself. Everything in your life should be directed towards a goal. Marcus Aurelius' meditations, no random actions. Everything in your life should be set up to productize yourself in the highest efficiency and highest leveraged way possible. Number 9, maximize environment for success. Going back to the mentorships in these groups, these paid groups, join these paid groups, tell the mentor you're going to be the best case study they had, make money, share your wins, give value, talk to people, DM them, give them value. If you get close to people, hop on Google Meets, Zoom calls with them. Then, if the mentor has in-person events, great. If not, put together a chat, set up an environment for a trip with a few guys, SMMA, agency house, lock in, build together. That's it. Environments for success. I'm here in Colombia with, I think there's like 15 of us. There's a lot of us. Number 10, ask what are the 3 biggest needle-moving tasks. So if you were to ask yourself right now, what are the 3 biggest things that will move the needle the furthest? What are those things? And then over the course of the next 48 to 72 hours, do nothing but that until it's done. Let's say, for example, in my case, it's tripling my ad spends and creating all my B2B ads before tripling the spends. This example means I would do nothing in my power besides create the ads for the next 4 to 6 hours and do nothing but that. And this goes into one of my other lessons later on, which is questioning the status quo. Now, number 11, always think in terms of leverage. It really comes down in this world, leveraged versus unleveraged, trained versus untrained, skilled versus unskilled, black or white, binary, that's how the world is. And so you need to think in terms of leverage and asking yourself, first off, what is leverage? Leverage is least in for most out. What can you do right now in your business to acquire the most amount of clients with the least amount of effort? For the most part, it's organic content and B2B ads. Also, what's the highest leverage thing you can do in your agency right now, whether that's hire a setter or hire a certain team member, then just do everything in your power to do it. Because in order to get to 6 figures, it really just comes down to people, systems, predictable acquisition channel, and sales. That's it. 12, always question the status quo. Now, in my wallets, I have a page of Hermosi where he talks about challenging the status quo and how one of the biggest successes or one of the biggest traits of his success was questioning the status quo, was questioning why something has to take a year. Why questioning why something has to take a week to get done? Why can't we do it right now? Why can't this get done right now? Why do we have to wait? And so questioning conventional wisdom and questioning why things are the way they are, and then just going against it. I mean, all the great founders, they're different. They're not normal people. They're just not normal people. And so with understanding this, question this in your own life. 13, identity will always change. Your identity will always change. That's a fact. I'm not who I was 1 year ago. My goodness, thinking about who I was 1 year ago and thinking about who you once were when you started your journey, I mean, it's really about becoming the person we want to become. And that's why I spoke about a decision-making framework, which I use all the time, which is in certain situations, just ask yourself that version of yourself who does have everything they want. What would they do in this moment, right here, right now? Same thing with your agency, same thing with your personal life. Just questioning that version of ourselves, what would they do in this moment? And your identity is going to change. Your baseline for your standards are going to change. And now if you go from, let's say, 10 to 20 or 50K a month mark and you're hitting 50K a month for consistently 2-ish months, if you go below 50K a month, that's an attack directly onto your identity. And that is like the feeling of death. And so each stage, each time you level up, your identity is going to change with it. 14, don't be a slave to money. In the beginning, I just blew all the money I spent. Fact. I'm sure you guys are watching this when you've made your first 5, 10, 15, 20, 30K, whatever it was. You just spent it. You just blew it. It's kind of what I did. And so I remember reading a tweet from Iman, and he was like, if you're excited when you get a new money notification or a payment link, you've lost. Like, you cannot be a slave to money. It cannot control you because what you don't control controls you. As simple as that. And so you need to be, quite honestly, like sociopathic when it comes to money, feel nothing, know what to do with it, reinvest it, build up your war chest, put some money towards taxes, and just be so disciplined in this space Because if you don't have the amount of money that you want saved up, it just comes down to poor spending habits. And that comes down to a lack of discipline in your financials. And this is a whole fucking game in itself. And it's way harder done than said. And Hermosi was talking about how you will stay in poverty until you learn the lessons that poverty has to teach you. And as I've been in the game now for a year, I've learned so much about money, and I'm so glad I got into the money game, because most people are stuck and they barely have any savings. They don't have the money they want. And when push comes to shove, they don't have the freedom that they want, which simply comes from money. And I hate when people tell themselves these delusional stories that, oh, money doesn't matter, oh, money doesn't make me happy. It's all garbage. It's all completely garbage. Money will solve your money problems, and it will free you from so many things that holds people down. And once you have the money problem fixed and you aren't a slave to it, I mean, your world will just open up. 15, get out of low leverage tasks ASAP. If you're still media buying, if you're still setting up client campaigns, that is a $5 to $15 task activity that you have to get out of. If not, how can you scale an agency? How can you build the foundation for growth? You can't. You're spending 20 to 30 hours a week on shit that doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it does matter, but you need crystal clear SOPs and to build the team. 16, continuously seek truth. If I asked you, do you know what you need to do? You'll most likely say yes. Then it comes down to the question of why haven't you done it? That goes back to point 1, mindset, figuring out your whys. Continuously seeking truth. You're not where you want to be. That's fine. Don't ignore it. Don't put it in the dark. Don't put it in the shadows. What I found on sales calls with contractors, they don't like to speak about specific numbers. Why? That's the truth. The truth is they aren't happy with their situation. Yeah, we do 5 to 12, 5 to 15 roofs a month. It's like, what? It's like, what have you done the last 2 months on average? 5 roofs a month. Oh, well, there's the answer. They hide things. They don't know their KPIs. They don't know their numbers, because ignorance is bliss. And that's why you have to build this internal pressure and pain on sales calls with prospects, because they haven't been told self-accountability their entire lives. Last lesson, 17, speed is everything. Money loves speed. Speed loves money. You guys know this watching this. Every single great business person always talks about speed. It is the most important thing. Now, we do have one-way and two-way door one-way door, two-way doors. If it's a one-way door, or if it's a two-way door and you can come right back to your original decision, act quickly. Whether that's increasing ad spend or running ads in the first place, hiring a team member, you can fire them quickly. If it's about a one-way door, which is a business partner, or switching vehicles entirely, that takes a little bit more time and thought. But the market will tell you whether or not what you're doing is correct by the speed in which you act. And so these are the 17 lessons that I've taken away from making my first 100K online, which happened a few months ago, like 3 months ago. And I just hope that you guys take something of value and apply it to your own agency. But besides that, I will see you in the next. Peace.